Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I want to show you quickly how you can grow your own yucca plants from cuttings, so you don't necessarily need to buy them. So I've got one here that I've been growing, so let me just show you. If you look closely here, you can see this brown piece of stem or root. So what I did is about a year ago I was digging in the garden near some yuccas and I chopped into one just under the ground, this piece of stem here. So if you've got an old yucca, or you can get one off a neighbour, you can just chop a piece off of this brown stem. Okay, so what you then do is, what I did was I let it just dry out for a while, for a week or two, to make sure it's nice and dry. So that is because if you try to grow it when it's moist, because there's no plant attached to it, it'll have a tendency to rot. So you don't want to do that. You want to dry it out first, and that will encourage it to put roots out. So I dried this out for a couple of weeks, and then I added it to a small pot with some compost, and just watered it lightly, and then I just left it alone. So I didn't water it again. I left it for roughly 12 months, and that's where we're at today. So you can see what's happened. It's put out loads of roots. You can see there. As I say, I wouldn't recommend watering it during this stage. Just leave it alone, let it do its thing. It's got plenty of nourishment stored up in this stem to release roots and things. So you can see all those roots there. And then from this cutting of stem, it's put out a brand new plant. So I'm assuming this is like a clone of the mother plant. And 12 months on, we have a really healthy yucca plant. Now this is a hardy yucca, so I live in the UK and this will survive a winter outdoors in the UK. It's not an indoor plant, so it's a bit tougher, so it takes a bit longer to grow. And I've got another one just here, and this one came from an even smaller piece of root. You can just see a little like ball of root there that I just put in a little pot. You can just see the outline of the pot, sort of shape. It's been in this pot again for 12 months, and there you have a new yucca forming. So I've got these out of the pots now because I'm going to repot them. So that is just a quick way that you can grow your own yucca plants from offcuts of stem, just a piece of stem. When you cut it off, it might just look dead. This one was actually partially eaten. You can see like a piece missing here by something because I'd left it out in the garden for a while. But if you just dry the stem out, leave it alone, let it dry out, and that will kick-start the root process. And then just put it in a pot of soil, leave it alone, don't water it, don't let it get too wet, and hopefully it will start putting out roots and you'll have some nice healthy yuccas. So when they do put out good roots, you don't want to put them in big pots. They don't like to have too much access to water. They've evolved to live in dry conditions, so they don't really mind being pot bound. You can just leave them in a small pot and let them do their own thing. I've found that with yuccas, the less you do with them, the better. If you just leave them alone, they tend to look after themselves. One thing to watch out for in cold countries is just fungus growing on them. So in the winter, just make sure all the dead leaves at the bottom here that form the brown leaves, just remove those, because a lot of moisture can build up on there and it can encourage fungus to grow. So as long as you do that, you should be fine. You can see I haven't added any fertiliser to these, I haven't touched them, and they're nice and green, growing fine. You can see here where I've previously dug out a yucca. I've left some of the stem and root in the ground somewhere, and you can see under this pot there's one popping up here, over here, and over here. So as long as there's a piece of stem left in the ground, yuccas will still pop up in time. So once you have your yucca ready for a pot, I'm going to show you how you can pot it up. I fancy putting two in the same pot. You could just put one in, but they don't mind being clumped together and struggling for moisture. It's what they do. They're very good at surviving with low moisture content. So I'm going to put both of these in the same pot. So first of all, I'd advise to use a terracotta style of pot, because it's very good at allowing air to come into the pot and to just remove moisture. They drain well. So a terracotta pot doesn't have to be too big. I know these yuccas are going to grow, but honestly they don't mind being in a pot-bound pot. So what I'm going to use for soil is it's just a mixture of garden compost and just soil out of the garden, and it's mixed with some stones as well. You can see here I've got some stones in there for good drainage. Okay, so now I'm just going to take the yuccas and just arrange them . So now I'm just going to trim off some of the dead leaves or damaged leaves. And I'm going to add some pea shingle or just small gravel, just to add to the tropical effect, and again just helps with drainage. There they are in their pot with the gravel, plenty of drainage, plenty of space for the roots to develop. They should stay nice and well drained, not too moist in there, and they should fill out nicely this summer. So the last thing to do is to put them in a very sunny spot. I find that south facing to be the best. They don't seem to mind wind, they like harsh conditions, lots of sunshine and arid dry soil. So if you found this video useful, please leave me a like and also consider subscribing for more gardening related videos. I also do DIY videos as well. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.